Hello friends, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. And today we're reviewing a product that you continue to annoy me about reviewing. These are the weighted out plates. These claim to be the thinnest plates on the market and some of the most accurate. This is probably gonna be a shorter review because there's only so much to talk about in a review of a weight plate, but I will do so to the best of my ability. Let's get into it. During the pandemic, they're like, people need gym equipment. We have CNC cutters and we cut steel. Let's make plates. And so their original version was these yellow zinc coated ones that you see here. They have a gold color coating. So I don't know exactly what's coating it, but if I had to guess, it's a yellow zinc. It provides that nice gold feel. I think it looks pretty cool. And you can actually tell from like the rainbow effect that's on there, they're using some sort of water jet cutter or something to that effect to cut these out. Because really what these are, these ones are not, but what these are is they're just plate steel. So they're plate steel that's then cut out and then they screen print. Some of these it seems like they're actually laser etched in there. But the real benefit to these is one, they're steel, so they're really never going to break. I mean, if you drop them, you're more likely to crack your concrete than you are to these. Like they are that durable because they're not cast in any way. So they're more durable than say a cast iron plate, but they're also extremely thin. I mean, that's a 5-pound plate. This is a 25-pound plate and it is just incredibly thin. There isn't a plate, I don't think, that is as thin. In fact, that's the real benefit to these. But they also added some extra stuff to them. For instance, they have a handle cut out. I think this is smart. One, because they're able to meet the diameter that most people want on plates, around 450 millimeters. So the opening on these is 2 inches exactly. It's not, say, for like calibrated plates, 50.4, which is slightly under 2 inches. Sounds like a minor deal, but when you place these on there, and I'll talk a little bit about this, there's gonna be more slop than there would be with a calibrated plate. But these are probably some of the most durable plates that are out there. Also, they are some of the thinnest. And they also say they're some of the most accurate. So the benefits are you can load just a ton of weight on whatever you're using these for. So if you're using a barbell, and let's say like you just lift a crazy amount, you'll be able to put as much as you'd ever want on a barbell. There's not a plate that's thinner than this that I know of that you can place more on. In fact, they're so thin, they're 19 millimeters for the 45-pound plate. The closest ones I can think of that are close to that thin are, say, a calibrated plate from really any of the manufacturers, but let's just say Rogue, that's around 22 millimeters. So, you know, it's 3 millimeter difference, but if you have a short sleeve or just lift a crazy amount, that can matter. So they truly are the thinnest that are on the market at 19 millimeters for the 45-pound plate. Now, these options are a little bit different. These are cast. This one specifically is cast with a clear coat. This one is cast, has a machined edge, and then has a black powder coat. These are also very thin at 19 millimeters. So these also are as thin as the steel ones. I think they're actually a little bit thicker because of the coating, but we're talking about semantics there. If you want just the absolute thinnest, I'd go with these steel ones, but these are also extremely thin, and all of these are also pretty accurate. There are some problems with these though. So first off, let's weigh them before I get into some of the things I don't like. Okay, there's 2 claims that make these stand out. We're gonna test them. One is obvious, it's how thin it is. These are the thinnest plates. You even put them next to a thicker plate that's also rated very thin, and these are thinner. So they're right, they're the thinnest plates on the market, which I think is the biggest benefit. But their other one is they're claiming that they're some of the most accurate. It doesn't say they're the most accurate, it says they're some of the most accurate. So we're just gonna test them. This is a 45 or 20.4. It's 44.8. They're warranted to be within 1% of the stated weight increment. They're actually within that. So they're listed they're right now weighing 20.35. That's within the 1% of the weight rating. Some people are gonna be like, what does that even matter? Well, there's people that are spending a lot of money because they want calibrated exactly what it weighs, say in a competition or something like that. Now these are the cast version. They also have the steel version, so we'll try those too. Okay, this is a 25-pound steel version. Man, these are so freaking thin. These are also within 1%. That's what they recommend, and they are. They're 11.2, 11.3 kilograms is what they weigh. So they are accurate. Okay, so for some of the positives, one, extremely thin. The thinnest plates that are on the market, 19 millimeters for the 45-pound plate. Really, there isn't much that compares to that. I mean, that is like extremely thin. And so if you're wanting a plate that's really thin, you're not really gonna have anything else that's thinner than just solid steel. Now, the other thing is they do say they're pretty accurate, and they are. They're not the most accurate. There are calibrated plates that I think are more accurate. If you say take a Rogue calibrated plate, they're warranted for plus or minus 10 grams, which is even tighter than the 1%. So I don't know if I'd say they're some of the most. I mean, I guess you could say some, because what does some mean? You know, you define how many equals some companies or some brands, but they are pretty accurate, so I think that's fine. Here's the problems I see with them and why somebody may go with something else. Number one, they are thin, but they're not that much thinner than a calibrated plate, and a calibrated plate is going to be more accurate. It's also may look better. I don't know, it depends what you think looks better. You may like the colors, you may not. But the other thing is I really wish they would do something different than a 2-inch diameter hole. Because these are so thin, and because there's a 2-inch hole versus something that's thinner, like 50.4 millimeters, it means there's less tolerance between it and the sleeve, which means it rocks side to side when all you have is on the bar a single plate. So let's say you're doing deadlifts, you start with 135, it's just kind of wonky. It doesn't sit perfectly upright because there's not really much for it to rest on because it's so thin. Now, if you put a bunch on there, it's not as big of a deal, or if you have really tight fitting collars, it's something that's not gonna be as big of a deal, but it is something to watch out for. Another thing is they're just cutting this out. They're not like rounding the edges or anything like that. So actually, when Sam pulled these out of the box, there was a metal shard that got on his finger because they're like a sharp edge. So I don't think it's like a major deal, but it's something I would watch out for or consider. When you take these off the rack, like it's kind of sharp. So just understand, like if your kids are playing with them or whoever, like it's not rounded off. In addition to that, if you did drop these, yeah, you'd probably lose a toe because they're that thin and because there is kind of that sharpness if you were barefoot or something like that. So I don't know if you'd actually lose a toe, but you wouldn't be feeling good.
Drop test.
Your toe. The other thing is for a calibrated plate, they're going to be more accurate than these are. So these are pretty accurate, but if you want something that's just dialed in exactly and don't mind a little bit extra, like it's 3 millimeters difference, I like the calibrated plates better. And you look at the price. These solid steel ones for a pair of 45s is 300 bucks. So pretty expensive. I doubt they're making a whole lot of money on this because steel is expensive, especially for a 45-pound plate. They're also doing free shipping, so just all of that with pairs. Like it just kind of makes sense that that's the cost. I don't think it's like over the top. They came out with a cast version that is also very thin, also has the handles, is more rounded. They offer it in a black coating, or this one that's a clear coat. The other one has a machined edge. I think these are nice. These are cheaper though. These are 250 bucks with shipping. When you compare these to say Rogue's calibrated 45-pound blue plates for pairs without shipping are 240 bucks. Very similar costs. You know, you throw shipping in there, they're gonna be a little bit more than what these are. I think they're a better looking plate, they're calibrated, and they're not that much thinner. But I can understand why people get these because there literally is not a thinner plate that's out there. I was actually thinking like, I'm not gonna be a huge fan of these. I don't think they're the best looking plates, you know, but there are a lot of people out there that they want the thinness. That's what they care most about, is just how much they can stack on the bar. Maybe they have a plate loaded attachment and they're like, I need more room. I don't have long sleeves. These meet that requirement. I think they're a cool option. I'm glad we have them. They're made in the USA. These do have a limited lifetime guarantee. However, only if your lifetime is 20 years. I don't understand that language. Take that for what it's worth. Rogue's is lifetime. I don't think it has any speculation on 20 years. So if you're a thin boy, looking for a thin boy, if I was like, which one is I gonna buy? I'd buy the Rogue USA plates. I think those things are freaking sick. I think they look really cool. The problem with the plates though is like they're kind of hard to handle. Like those Rogue USA Olympic plates, they don't have a handle on them where these do. So these are a little bit more useful and versatile and comfortable to use. But those Rogue ones are so thin, those cast USA one with the machine front, and they just look really sweet. I could see people with bumper plates that just want a little bit more weight on the bar and don't have a ton of room on the bar. You could buy a couple pairs of these. You know what I mean? So if you have bumper plates, don't want a full set, don't mind if everything matches, you could just get a couple pairs of these and you'd be able to get it pretty much to the weight that you'd want to on the bar while still using your bumper plates. But have you used these? Is the thinness enough of a value? Is it something you really want? I'd love to hear. I looked at reviews online, and unless they're like going through the reviews on their website and getting rid of the bad ones, they're very positive. Like, people really like these. And I could understand why. If you really want the thinness, these are the ones to go with. All right, let me know in the comments what you think of them. Are there any products that are kind of simple that we haven't reviewed yet that you'd like us to? Let me know in the comments as well. This has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.